What's going on, fellow smarks? Not to get ahead of myself here. How's it going, everybody? My name's Sean. I write for CagesideSeats.com, and I do this video podcast deal about once a week lately. So, go me. You can find me on Twitter at S1Rude, usually during every other Raw, roughly, or right here on CagesideSeats.com, the best damn pro wrestling community on the interwebs. Today, I have brought you here. I hope I don't sound like I'm in like the engine room of a Freightliner or something. There's some sort of fan blowing in this room that I'm in that I can't figure out how to make it stop. So we'll give this a listen later, and I might have just rambled on for 10 minutes for no good reason, but let's hope for the best. And let's talk about smarks and the internet wrestling community and all of these types of things. There was a really good piece by Dave Welsh this week. Gino got written for the site about, narrative dissonance and how WWE books for things. And there was also, Gino blasted Raw. I'll mea culpa here. I didn't see the thing. I saw the reviews. I watched even less of my Hulu version than normal. I didn't hate it as much, at least the parts that I saw, as a lot of folks seem to. Didn't feel it deserved defending as some other folks felt it needed to. So those two things are what got these, what I got cooking in the old noggin today going. Which, like I said, is this notion that there are all these different types of fans out there. That there is still an internet fan notion, which I think Dave really got to some of the thing. And there's also a Lance Storm theory that I wrote about this week too that sort of gets to it, that in 2015 especially there is not much of a divide between the internet fan and the casual fan. I mean, even a casual fan probably has read a blog or something where they can find out a little bit about backstage. They can find out, they've seen an interview on TMZ or Entertainment Tonight where John Cena is talking out of character. They watch Total Divas where they know that Paige and Alicia Fox don't hate each other. There's some kayfabe has been destroyed to the point where everybody's got some knowledge of that. If you're going to find yourself in a WWE show in an arena or flipping past it and stick to watch for 10 minutes, you probably know more than anybody did 30 years ago, 40 years ago. And that's just, the speed with which those walls are breaking down is going faster with every tweet and every Vine and every Instagram post where, it's every time Triple H breaks character to hug a kid. I don't mean to harp on that. I know I brought that up in a previous one, but it is something that you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't do that and then get upset when people react a certain way. When they react to what they think they know backstage as opposed to what the story you're putting out there is, because you yourself have blurred that line. So I think that's a valid point. I think the issue that I'm having is sort of comes out of that, but more has to do with some of the real, chippiness that can go on even in an extremely well-moderated community like Gino keeps Cage Side, where people, basically get mad at each other because they like different things. And that's, I don't know, it's bizarre to me. And even some of the good-natured stuff, and, I'll throw myself right on the sword here, is, I do a weekly fan poll thing. It was one of the first things I ever did for the site. I've kept it up for almost 3 years now. And it's called the Smart Shoot Standings. That's mostly because my OCD manifests itself in really liking alliteration a lot. I do that in my full-time job too. I like to try to come up with things that have the same letter in it a lot. I don't know what that is about me, but anyway, so I like to call it the S3, but the roots of it do have that word smart in it. But again, who is not, by the definition of that word when it came up, which the first time I encountered it was in the late 90s, I think. As somebody who is a fan who's not in the business, so you're a mark. I don't know. For some people, that's still an insult. I've never taken it that way. Anyway, so you're not in the business, so you fall in that category, and then you throw the S on it. You're a smart mark because you know some stuff that the average mark does not. Everybody is that now. There is, like I said, I don't think there's anybody watching, even like an 8-year-old, has some knowledge that, whatever, I don't know, John Cena never dated Eve Torres, I don't know. But there's something that they know that isn't part of the online narrative. So everybody's a smark. So this whole notion of them, throwing that around as an insult or being anti-smark, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. So maybe somebody can enlighten me there. And this is not, I'm not mad at the folks who call themselves anti-smark. There's a couple of really funny cage-siders who write awesome fan posts who are part of the anti-smark movement. I just don't know what that means. I mean, it means you're not as pessimistic about something. I mean, that doesn't make, I don't know. Anti-smark doesn't connotate that for me. Though it's an old argument, but this whole notion of the IWC, the Internet Wrestling Community, people logging onto a website to complain about the IWC. I get what you mean a little bit more there than I do with anti-smark, but you care more than most people to get on the internet and have this discussion, so you're in the IWC. So, point being, I think it would be much more useful for us as fans to sort of do away with that, just because I find it I don't know, I just don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. I bail on those threads. I'm here to talk about this thing that we love, not fight about it. I think I guest reviewed Raw last week, 2 weeks ago now, and I think I talked to some folks in the comments, and I appreciate those folks that will have a back and forth and not flame and yell and all caps and I don't even like giving out grades because it's totally subjective and it drives traffic and people like to be able to glance at it and say, oh, this guy liked it, this girl didn't like it, whatever. But if I had my druthers, you'd just get the review, you wouldn't get the grade. But that's not how the world works. So anyway, though, I mean, the back and forth, you're a bad fan because you didn't like this, or you put this much thought into it and it's not really there on screen, so you're, giving it more effort than entertainment should get. Whatever. People have run to Roman Reigns' defense, and that has sometimes taken the form of Daniel Bryan bashing. Daniel Bryan fans have all too often, bashed other people that they didn't like just because they weren't him. We're all just trying to be entertained, right? So, if I was the emperor of the IWC, we would stop that. We would stop with the labels. We would just talk about what we liked and didn't like, why something worked for us and didn't work, or didn't work for us, not why you're a bad fan because it didn't work for you. Anyway, all right. So that's that part of it. The other part of it, though, is, and this gets back to Dave Welsh's piece, which is the WWE trying to book for a certain type of fan? First of all, when these types of fans, in my mind, don't really even exist, right? It's all a big blurred mess. And two, you've got 5, 6, sometimes 9 hours of television a week that you can write for your different constituencies. So why not just do that, write different feuds? I don't have a problem watching, and again, I'm not trying to say that I'm the perfect fan, but I'm pretty damn good. But that's a joke, but I am good. I'm not trying to say that, forget what I'm not trying to say. What I am trying to say is that I tend to not get too bent out of shape with the John Cena angles or something like that, because it's not for me, and that's fine. And I can fast forward it. I can not watch that clip. I can, just enjoy the match piece of it and not get completely worked up. Sometimes I get pissed off about the booking if I think it's, harmful to a guy that I like or somebody who I think better business would be to have somebody else go over, those kind of things. But that, again, that's a discussion we can have about different ways that we approach the product and those sorts of things. It's not worth it to me to get all worked up about it, with the exception of when I feel like they're doing something, racially insensitive or sexist or, just really contradicting themselves in terms of the message that they're sending. And, when they have a public relations piece, a PSA spot in one breath, and then a character behaving, a good guy character behaving in a different way later. Again, discussions we can have, but for the most part, you don't like it, move along. I think. So that's how WWE should treat their product. I mean, book this segment for this type of internet smart, because we're all that, and then this segment for a younger internet smart, and this segment for the internet smart that likes to have a racy Vince Russo storyline, and this one for the fan of, you know, who spends his free time watching New Japan and just wants to see the two guys wrestle, two baby faces wrestle to see who the best person in the world is, those kind of things. And the kind of stuff that I know I harp on all the time, and I think a lot of people do, is what, you know, why wouldn't you do your best to, within each of those genres and within each of those attempts to please a bunch of different fans, why wouldn't you try to write characters consistently and give them a clear-cut personality and motivation? Because I don't know of any kind of fan who's like, damn it, I hate it when they, you know, have feuds that there's a reason for, or, you know, whatever. I hate when I can tell a guy is charismatic. Nobody says that. So do your best to stick to those basics of any type of storytelling, any type of writing class you'd ever go to, where you try to, you know, you establish characters and motivations and set up conflict and resolve that conflict. You should try to do that regardless, and then you can have you got all this time to fill and this wide roster of these super talented guys and girls, and then just, you know, it should be the greatest job in the world just playing in that sandbox. Instead of trying to chase, you know, this one type of fan or piss off this other type of fan, you know, I don't know. It doesn't seem like rocket science to me. So, you know, this like a House of Fire right here is one part, why can't we all just get along? And one part, please stop trying to please everybody and just tell a bunch of different good stories, and you might just end up pleasing everybody. So that's my rant. I remain amazed that, you know, this is the controversy going into Mania as opposed to anybody being really hot about a storyline. But it is what it is. It's better than talking about Bill DeMott. So there you have it, folks. Like a House of Fire. I think this might have been episode 26. I don't really know. I like that the last one was sort of double-sized. It's, for the comic book nerd like me, episode 25 being double-sized fits the bill just right. So I hope you like that. Give me a comment. Let me know what you think. Tweet at me, at S1Rude. Deal with it.